This your boy R to the E to the D, and we back with another video. Today we got for y'all. My mama will be telling y'all about something that happened when we was younger.
Welcome back to my son YouTube channel. I'm just gonna do a story time, something that I experienced, but it is a true story. This actually happened. It's about an intruder, in hopes of shed some light. Maybe this can help someone, and you know, you live and you learn. Well, all this started back in 2014. I was a single parent. I was just moving in my first apartment, moving out with my mom to my first apartment. I had 5 kids, 3 boys, 2 girls, from the ages, I want to say 8 to 2. And, you know, so we had an upstairs apartment. And, you know, when you first moving into your first apartment, you have to buy things, and some things you have to put together. If I'm moving out there, you know, I noticed, you know, that one of my mama friend guys had, you know, stayed downstairs. You know, I seen him, you know, basically just looking around and met some of the people. I knew it was a couple that stayed on the side of me, you know, and other people out there as well. But make a long story short, you know, I had bought some things, and I had an entertainment center that I had got. And my brother post had came and put the entertainment center up for me. But me knowing that my mama friend stayed down there, and I've been knowing him for years, you know, I just felt like, you know, I was going to ask him and just tell him that I'll pay him, you know, if he can come put it up for me. And so I asked him would he come put the entertainment center up for me. He agreed to, and he was like, yes. And so he came to my apartment around, I want to say it's probably around 8 p.m. that night, maybe a little earlier. But anyway, my kids were still up. I know it was early because my kids were still up. My niece came over as well, and me and her was conversating and talking. And my mama friend, he came, but when he came, he brought another guy with him, which I recognized the guy, and I knew that he was staying next door with the couple, but I didn't know nothing else about him. So I just said, oh, well, that's his friend. If I know him for years and he know him, then, you know, I didn't think nothing of it, you know. So they began to fix on the entertainment center, whatever. I continued on doing what I had to do around the house, talking to my niece, getting my kids fed, you know, and letting them watch TV, you know. So as they began to fix on the entertainment center, I began to talk to my niece, and then it started to take a little longer than normal. But I just felt like they ran into a couple of little problems, so I didn't really think much about it. But I began to get tired, and my niece had brought it to my attention. She was like, you know, she nodded her head over there toward them. She said, don't you think it's getting a little too late, you know, that they need to just wrap it up, you know what I'm saying? You know, I told her, I said, well, you're right, you know, it's getting late. So I told my mama friend guy, I said, you know what, don't worry about the entertainment center. I said, I'll get my brother to come whenever he be available to fix it. So he was like, okay. So he ended up leaving. When they left, my niece stayed for maybe 30 to 45 minutes. She stayed, and we talked a little while. By that time, the kids hadn't got cleaned up and got in their bed. You know, I had my 2 youngest sons, you know, they sleep with me a lot. And I'm the type of person, I kind of get this from my mama. Even though I had a 2-bedroom apartment, they had bunk beds in their room, and I had a bed in my room, but I love to sleep in the living room on the couch. I like to turn the TV on, watch TV until I fall asleep, but I always had my 2 younger boys sleep with me. You know what I'm saying? However I had to do, I make one of them a pallet, and then I have the other one laying up, you know, laying on me some kind of way, and, you know, that's the way I would sleep with them, you know. And so before I got ready to lay down, take it in, my niece, you know, she said, well, I'm going to go and take it on in. You know, I know you're going to go to sleep, watch TV and go to sleep or whatever. So me and her, you know, wrapped it on up with our conversation. She ended up leaving. So I ended up laying down. My kids was in their room. You know, like I said, I had the 2 youngest boys in the front, the 3 oldest, which was 2 girls, and the oldest was my boy. They was in the back in the bunk beds. So I ended up falling asleep. I watching TV. I ended up falling asleep. And next thing you know, I wake up, it's pitch black. I mean, look, just like this. It's pitch black. I'm looking at the TV. I just see the shadow of the TV, the silhouette of the TV. It's just like this picture. It's pitch black. And I looked, you know, and the way my apartment was set up, like I said, we stayed upstairs. Like when you come up the stairs, you can come like almost brought directly into my apartment. So I woke up and I was just staring at the TV, and I began to hear like a noise. It wasn't no loud noise. It was a noise that you had to it had to be really quiet. Like everything would have to be off in order for you to hear it. That's how low the noise was. So I was saying, what is that noise? You know? And it was consistent. You know, so I said, you know what? It sounds like it's coming from over there, you know, towards the window or the door. And the way my apartment was set up, you know, I had a window that was here, and the door was real close to it. Like if you can look out the window, you can look at the door. Like outside, you can see the door. So I got on up, like I said, it was pitch black, but you could see the silhouette of the light coming through the window. So I got up, I peeped, pulled the curtain a little bit in the blind, and I looked. And when I looked towards the door, the same man that came with my mom friend earlier that night to fix the entertainment center, he was bent over. He had a butcher knife, and he was carefully but consistently trying to get in there to get the door open. And the sweat, this is God honest, the sweat was pouring off his face. And when I seen it, I was horrified and shocked. And a lot of people might say what they can do in a situation like that, but when you are in a situation like that, your instincts keep kicked in, and you just, whatever you gonna do or say, it's gonna come out. And when I seen that, I was like, get away from my door. I'm gonna call the police. And when I said that, I ran for the phone. And when I ran for the phone, he began to hit the door. And remind you, this is a full apartment complex. Even though it was upstairs and downstairs, there wasn't no apartments behind it. It was just straight up and down. Like all apartments upstairs and all of them downstairs was just that one building with apartments upstairs and downstairs, but they wasn't, you know, like my next door neighbor, it wasn't that far over. So, and that was the apartment. Like I said, he stayed with the couple next to me. And so he didn't have no regards to nobody waking up. He was just on go mode. He was just hitting up against the door with all his force. And so I grabbed the phone. I dialed 911. At this time, cell phones was out, but they wasn't popular to the point where everybody had a cell phone. You know, that was during the time back in 2004 that majority of the people that I knew had house phones. And I had a house phone, but it was a cordless phone. And even though I had just recently moved in, I immediately got my service changed over because I got to have a phone, and thank God I did. So I grabbed the phone, I dialed 911, the operator come on, and I tell her, I say, it's a man that is trying to get in my apartment. It's just me and my kids, and he's hitting my door with all his force. You know, he's trying to kick my door down. And she said, well, ma'am, stay on the phone. I'm going to dispatch officers to you now. But stay on the phone. Do not hang up. And so in the midst of all this chaos, I ran back there with my kids. And by this time, they're up. My small kids are up. So I ran back there with my two small boys, and I gave the smallest child to my oldest son. And my two daughters are all and I let the window up back there. We was upstairs. And I let the window up. And I told them, I said, when y'all hear that door bust open, and I told my son, I looked him directly in the eye, my oldest son, I said, you make sure that all of y'all jump out this window. I said, some of y'all gonna make it, and some of y'all might be injured, some of you might not. I said, but whoever make it to where you can run and get help. And my kids at this time, they crying, tears everywhere, they terrified. So I runs back, I go to the kitchen. I didn't have a gun or anything like that, but I did have knives. So I grabbed my largest knife that I had, came back around in the kitchen and looking at the door and on the phone with the operator. And she said, the police is on their way. The police is on their way. And by this time, y'all, he's hitting the door with such a force that you can hear, I heard boards breaking. You know, the board was just breaking. And at this point, I realized the shocking truth that this man, now let me tell y'all how this man looked so y'all can understand what I was up against. This man was every bit about 6'3" or 6'4". I'm 5'1". I was a little slender back then, but he was stout. You know, I ain't gonna say stout. He was thick. He wasn't short and stout. He was thick and tall with it. And he was, when you look at him, he looked like he could have been a person that worked out a lot. He was muscular. He wasn't fat. So that kind of give y'all a visual of how this man looked. But in the midst of all that, the man was trying to break the door down, and the thoughts came to my mind, the truth came to my mind, the reality that, okay, this man know that you are on the phone with the police, or maybe even thought I was bluffing, because he can't see inside. I don't know if he scoped out I had a phone when he was there, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what he was thinking on the outside, but it was obvious to me that he was coming in there to do one thing, and that was to kill me. He wasn't coming in there to rape me or do anything like that, because, I mean, let's be real. He knew that there's a possibility I was on the phone with the police. He knew it was a possibility that somebody could wake up at any time. By this time, I felt like anger was inside of him. He was determined to do whatever he came to do. So the reality sunk in that, okay, when this man get up in here, I'm only going to have probably one lucky hit. Unless that I'm lucky and I can hit him in the heart, I might survive this. I said, but maybe I can cripple him to the point where he just, you know what I'm saying, stall him for a minute. But my goal was to fight him to death, to my death. I was only focusing on making sure I stalled him that some of my children would survive, hoping that they all survive. But nevertheless, I'd rather them jump out that window than have them experience a knife-wielding beast of a human attacking them. So I just said to myself, you know, this is it. You're going to have to fight. You're going to have to fight for your kids. So the whole time I'm thinking that, I'm looking at the door, I'm in shock, I'm in disbelief, I'm in, you know, go mode to where I know that this probably finna hurt, maybe even kill me, but I know that I'm gonna have to fight, you know. So with that being said, I began to hear the sirens of the police car. I mean, you can hear the sirens of the police car, kind of like this picture here. I could hear them from a distance coming. And when I heard the sirens, that's when he completely stopped. He stopped trying to kick the door in. And I'm in shock. And next thing I know, I hear the officer banging on the door. It's the police. It's the police. It's okay. Open the door. Open the door. Open the door. So when I opened the door, y'all, this is the truth. The door was so mangled on the outside. It looked exactly like this. Actually, it looked worse than this picture. The door was mangled. Like, you would, if you'd see that door, you'd have said it had to be the angel of the Lord holding that door closed. It was mangled. It was so messed up. The police, I can see the expression on their face. They was furious. So they were like, "Do you know where he went?" And I said, "He stays next door with the couple here." So they went to the next door and they just told me to stay back. But I can also see, they bam on the door, bam on the door. The lady and a boyfriend, husband, I don't know if they were married, but the couple came to the door. And they was like, "Who else here?" And they called the guy name. I don't remember it. But they were like, "Tell him to come out." And when he came out, y'all, get ready for this. This man had on a t-shirt and some boxers. And he was doing this like he had just woke up. But he was still sweaty. And by the officer seeing the damage to my door, you can see where he was taking a butcher knife and jabbing it into my door. You can see the marks. And the door was hanging over from the bottom and the top. It was just that little part in the middle that wouldn't budge. And to this day, I believe that was God. And when they see him come to that door like that, and they was already furious, they told him, "Get down!" And they threw him to the ground and did whatever they had to do. They arrested him. And, you know, after they arrested him and put him in the car, you know, ran his information, whatever they had to do, they end up, whatever they ran his information, whatever they had to do, they end up letting me know that he had a warrant in Louisiana. They couldn't tell me what it was for, but I knew he was arrested and something back there, you know, and for one, it wouldn't surprise me if it was for murder, but he was running from the police. He was wanted in Louisiana, and they ended up taking him on in, and me, I was damaged that ordeal. My kids was traumatized. I had to get the landlord them to come put them. That ain't even that's just, they put a door up. That ain't even important. The thing important, the most important thing that me and my kids survived, an intruder that was determined to get in there and to harm us, you know. And I just felt like that I need to share that story because it was a lesson learned, you know. Be careful who you let in your house. What I supposed to did when my mama friend came there with this guy, I should have stopped him. Like, no, you know, I feel like by me being a resident of that in that apartment, that guy, by him living next door with that couple, that he was already watching me, trying to determine if I had a husband that stayed there with me. And when he got in there that night, that just confirmed to him that, okay, she stayed here, you know, alone with just her kids, you know. He had already made up in his mind that night to come back and rape. The way he was trying to get in there, I would have woke up with a knife in my face. I felt like he got in there and raped me. He most definitely would have killed me. And my two youngest with me, you know, to keep them quiet, he probably would have did the same to them. And it was God. I got to go back to this. I got to point this very key fact out that it had to be God to wake me up in the middle of the night. It had to be a spiritual thing for me to be able to hear. That noise was so light, y'all. It was consistent, but it was light. You know what I'm saying? And everything that played, it was important. It was another thing. It was a good thing I had a phone by me just moving in. It was a good thing that I had a house phone. And it was good that door, I mean, it was a blessing that door didn't give. Even though it was broken up pretty bad, it didn't give. And I just know that it had to be a higher power God. It had to be something keeping me and my kids safe. And, you know, after that, I moved after that, by the way. I moved. I got my kids and we got on down. We left. But after that, you know, I always watch my surroundings because, you know, like I said, my kids was young. So I had they all grown now. I had many years of being a single parent with my kids, and you know, I just always watch my surroundings. I know not to invite anyone into my home. If I got something need to be put up, it's better to, you know, try to do it myself or however, get it to where it's already together. You know, I have a lot of people to tell me that I made a mistake about, you know, screaming and saying I was gonna call the police. You know, your reacting, like I told them that was the only thing that I could say. And it came out. I mean, it ain't like I thought about it. It's just something that I said in hopes of scaring him off. You know what I'm saying? You got anything you want to input, you know?
Yeah, I just wanted to say about the yelling part and noticing him noticing that she was there. Maybe that is what really saved him from getting in. Because if he would have sat there and kept fumbling with that door, sooner or later he was gonna break the lock or either crack the code to the lock and then come up walk right on in. Then like her yelling made him frustrated, and by him pushing and force on the door will also push force back. So it made him harder to get in. So when people saying you should be quiet, yeah, sometimes you should be quiet. But if she was just being quiet, he was already sweating. Whatever he doing, he did it before. So he was used to breaking in doors. So if he would have kept doing it, he was gonna get in way faster than he got in by pushing the door in.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I really agree with that because he was working. He was, with the sweat was so thick pouring off his face. I was in disbelief because he was being careful to not alert no one. But once he found out, I guess reality sunk in when I said get away from my door for to call the police. That made him mad because he really was looking forward to getting in there, you know what I'm saying, without waking me up or whatever he wanted to do. In other words, he wanted to do exactly what he set out to do, and it didn't work out that way. But nevertheless, you know, I just wanted to share my story. This is a true story. Like I said, it happened back in 2004 when my kids were small, being a single parent, first apartment, allowing someone to come in that I knew that brought somebody in that I didn't know, that was watching me, you know, being a single parent. And I just want to share this to single parents, you know, for whether it's men, you're a man, single parent, or a woman, you know, I feel like you live and you learn, and when you come through something like this, I survived. I'm a survivor. My son survived. All my kids are survivors because it could have been the other way around. nevertheless, I just want to share this with y'all. And like I said, I have other things, not to this extent. Like this is the closest that I came to something like that I normally watch this on TV. A lot of people are not as lucky as I am, you know, and it'd be somebody else telling the story, and you know, I see it on news, whatever the case may be. I never thought in a million years that I would experience something like that, but I did. And that just made me aware, made me very careful. And I just want to share it with you all in hopes of, you know, just blessing you with that information. You know, just stay prayed up, watch your surroundings, and may the Lord be with you all and keep you safe and sound. And that was my story.
So that's the end of that story. We're gonna be doing more videos like that, or in other videos. Just comment what y'all want us to do next and stuff like that. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. It's your boy R to the E to the D, and we out.
Bye.